What is happening, everybody?
Hey, new music.
Yeah, Accountability
Oh,
Success Circle. It's time for that quickie. Yeah. If you're hearing this, hit that heart button, hit that like button. We're going to be going live in just a few seconds. Let us know where you are dialing in from. We're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, boundaries. Yes. So, when I do that, it turns off all music. So
oh.
noted. Boo. Anyways, all right, cool. So
When the
we are
tech
going.
changes, you gotta
You
relearn
gotta
it
roll with
all
it,
over again. So
right?
much
All right.
stuff changing.
So here we go. We're about to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's happening, everybody?
It's like a very sunshiny day scenario.
Right? Into
Yay!
summer. That's what I'm all about.
How's it
All
going, Gary?
right. I'm doing great today. How
I
are you
feel like I
doing,
haven't
April?
talked to you all week except for
I
when I
know,
texted you yesterday. I was like, oh,
right?
that's really all all
I
we talked
know.
about.
Yeah,
So
and it was really quick. Like the week felt like it went super, super fast. So,
yeah, totally. It's like when you have a long weekend, everything seems so crammed in because I was like, okay, Tuesday I'll get situated, but there was definitely something I had on Friday that I was like, I'm gonna definitely do it on Tuesday, and then Tuesday was like, it just came and went, and then yesterday was exhausting. Like I had some stuff on the calendar, but I was not at my computer, and I was like, wait, oh, now that thing that I was supposed to do on Tuesday, I should do today, but it's already all 4 o'clock central, so we'll see if I get it done. It'll definitely get done tomorrow.
yes. So,
Anyway,
if you're flustered like that,
you might need some boundaries.
right? And we're going to be talking about boundaries. And you know what? It's not just those types of boundaries that when you think about boundaries, it's like, uh-oh, they keep calling me too much. I need to put some boundaries.
or or like I need to start saying no to this stuff, or I need to, stay away from that annoying person, or what else? Or I got to stop answering those calls of the numbers that I don't know on my phone. Like, not those types
Yes.
of boundaries. We've got some different ones that you might not even know exist that we need to set up in order to live our lives with more flexibility and more freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's our hope that at the end of this, you're going to be feeling more like,
You have all of your go-to sounds. They're just perfect for every situation.
anyways, so it's not those negative boundaries. We're talking about positive boundaries, and more specifically, we're going to talk about 3 specific types of boundaries that you need to set right now, right away. That, as
Yes.
April talked about, um, will give you that peace of mind. That will give you that feeling like, oh yeah, yeah, that I am not only working my butt off, but I do have space for the other things that matter. Because let's be honest, work is not the only thing that's a priority.
Yeah.
If it is, then you need to get your priorities straight, girl or
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm really silly today. So, without further ado, let's jump into the very first one. And if you know me and you see this, you're going to be like, duh, Gary, I
Duh.
get it. But it's important. It's important to talk about it. And this is play. Far too often, as I'm talking to people about the power of play, and I talk about the health benefits of play, like better immune systems, more productivity, more energy, better sex life, like all that stuff.
Woo.
It's true.
Quickie.
Wiki, wiki, wiki. Most people say, "Well, that's nice, but I have other things. I have work. I have things that I have to do," and it's important for you to create space right now. And I did a post recently where I had a snippet from my TEDx talk from last year where I was talking about the power of play and how it helped me shift everything in my life. And I was saying that if it is a challenge for you, start with 10 minutes. And this is for all of these that we're going to talk about. You know, if it seems overwhelming, if it seems daunting because you haven't set those boundaries yet, start small and then work your way up. But play, play is important. And play is one of those things that if you don't prioritize it, it can easily be shifted aside. It could easily be, you know, moved for all kinds of stuff like work, uh, you know, the obligations that you have to do as an adult. And so, again, when it comes to um, play, it's important to be intentional about your play and set that boundary. April, what do you think?
I totally agree. And I think, obviously Gary and I have known each other for years, and play is always something that I almost feel like when I first met you, it was like, ooh, this is the permission. Cause I don't think that I ever like play games on my phone or whatever. And I have like a practice where there's like, okay, there's these specific games. Like I almost make it work, right? Where it's like, I'm on these games where like I'm part of a team and like they give us a goal and we have to meet it and we have to, it's like we're working together. So it makes that's like my kind of play. But you definitely need to, I think, obviously you hear Gary talk about play all the time, but I feel like it's one of those messages where don't we don't realize the importance of it until like we've hit some sort of semi rock bottom or rock bottom. And if we were able to be proactive about it, it would, we would mitigate the chances of like burnout and all of that stuff by just prioritizing it. So we're just going to continue to drill this in your head in every which way to just make sure that you know that you have permission to play and that it's actually a good thing. So
Yep.
that's all I had to say because
And
you
one
nailed
thing
all that.
I'm going to so a friend of mine, like on that post that I mentioned, she had talked about. So I asked her. I said, "So how do you play?" And I'm trying to find her exact words because I want to read this because it's so powerful. Um, I asked her how she played, and then she said, "Admittedly, when I was working in an office all day, day in and day out, making time for play was not a priority. Now that I stay at home hanging out with my daughter, I have the luxury of playing most of the hours of the day with her. The mental benefit of playing is really taken for granted and forgotten as we get older. And I hope that when I go back to work someday in person, I will incorporate play daily.
Yes,
And
I love
in
that.
order to be able to continue to incorporate that. And so, this for you, Kimberly, if you're watching and everyone else watching, you have to create a boundary because, again, the things that are important get scheduled. The things that are a priority, we make space for. And that's why we call these positive boundaries. And April, I feel like you are a master at this next one. So, why don't you kick off number two?
Awesome. Number two is community. So having to create boundaries around community is so important, right? Because a lot of the things that we do in life requires interaction with other people. And so, making sure that um, we think about, who we want to be in community with as one piece, right? Because if we decide to be in community with people who are going to, suck our energy, then that's going to impact you. And so you need to really kind of define like, who do I want, like in my bubble of sorts? Who do I want and how do I want to engage with those people? One of the things that I know about myself is that even though I seem very outgoing and can be, tap into that very extroverted part of myself, I also feel like I really, really thrive in these one-on-one conversations. And so I set boundaries in terms of, making sure that I am, you know, attending events, virtual or in person, that have a good size number of people, but not one where I feel like I'm lost in the crowd and I just am, an observer. I need community where I can really, really, truly connect. So I know that about myself. And so ask yourself, what are the types of interactions that you want to have with people? Who do you want to be in your circle? Nudge, nudge, like the accountability success circle for us. And really just think about, like how you want to engage with those people. The other piece of it is that you want to think about with everything with COVID that has happened, you may have had community at school or at work, depending on the little hubs that you would go to during your day. People who are entrepreneurs might have these like little social gatherings online, and that might have not changed too much for them. But for people who were in person with each other, we've lost that as a result of the times. So trying to figure out ways to fill that gap in the meantime, or finding alternative ways is super important, because you need that interaction, whether it is in person or online. And you need to be able to feel like you can bounce ideas off of other and bounce energy off of other people. So off of each other. So Gary, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Those are the big ones. At the end of the day, we'll keep saying it and saying it and saying it again. You have to make space. You have to be intentional. Create it. Put it on your calendar. I know it may seem silly, but to be honest, I live and die by this. If it's not on the calendar, it does not get done. So
Right.
let's
Totally.
make it happen. Cool.
Number
And
three.
Number three. And this one is a topic that not a lot of people like to talk about, but it's important to talk about. And this is financial. What are your financial boundaries? And like we said in the beginning, it's not, oh no, now bad things are happening. We need to put up a boundary. How about we be forthcoming? How about we think in advance? With all the stuff that is happening, with COVID, and just how volatile, the world can be. If you start out by thinking about that boundary, your financial boundary, putting the extra padding in there, making sure that you have budget, especially for unexpected things, will help you in things like this. And now, as I'm saying this, man, I sound like my mom. So, anyways, what do you have to contribute to that?
Smart stuff.
Right?
Yeah. So, did you say something? Did you ask me what I think about it? Oh, you're passing it to me.
Yeah, I'm passing the torch.
Yeah, I was like, I was talking while you were talking. Okay. So, one of the things that, when it comes to financial, sometimes, there are certain people that, you kind of have to figure out budgeting in your own way. Like, I used to be very like, okay, I'm going to spend in these categories, but I will typically, have just a pot of money that I kind of budget, and it's like, okay, I just can't go down to zero. Like I have to stay above water, and, then dispersing money in whatever way feels right, just so that we know, so it's not like, I went $4 over my food budget. But just being even aware. I was just reading something, maybe it was like on one of my calendars, where they said, if you are struggling with budgets, you can like literally log and write down everything that you buy. And it creates it can feel annoying, but it creates an awareness. And so if you're not willing to say like, I need to cut somewhere, just knowing that your spending can be a boundary already, to be like, oh, maybe I need to slow down. Because if you're just like throwing the card around and you're not thinking about it, and you're just going in autopilot, it's not, you're probably spending more than you thought. And so one of the tricks that I did recently, and not even realizing we were going to talk about this today, is that I set up auto alerts on my phone, so I get texted every time something hits my credit card. So I can see like, oh, you authorized a charge for this. And so I don't have to write it down, but I get texts every time. And so it's almost like, okay, I don't want to spend tomorrow because I got like 10 text messages on stuff that, went through today and all that stuff. So you can make little easier things and have that help you inadvertently set a boundary. Yeah, that's all I have. But, think about retirement, think about all these things, think about, setting yourself up for the future. This is all about being proactive and intentional. So, all right, I'm done.
Yes. Awesome. And if you're looking for, I'm all about the technology. I'm all about apps and whatnot. There's a new app that my wife Courtney and I started using. It's called Acorns,
Mm.
and it's really rad in that it sets up these accounts so that you can, start investing if you haven't invested. They make it very easy for you. You're not picking the stocks, but they're putting them into, they ask you some questions on your lifestyle and what you want to do, and um, the other thing is that they have this like little account for your kids, and then you can stash away money here and there, and then when they become, of age, then that can go to them, be used for college and stuff like that. And so it's all in one easy interface. And one of the cool things is they have this roundup feature. So since it's connected to your checking account, and they have a debit card, that you can use as well, anything that you buy, it will round up for you if you want it to. So like if you went and bought something and it was like 5.95, it will round up to 5 cents, and then it'll put that into like a little keep track of that until it hits like $5, and then that $5 will go into your little investment fund. And
Yeah.
so again,
You might need to do a whole quickie on financial tools at some point.
Right, exactly. So
I was
let us
just
know.
writing that in the notes. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about these boundaries. Have you been thinking about them? Is that something that you're intentional about, or is it something new? Are there other boundaries that you're starting to think about, especially with COVID? And naturally, your question, may be, all right, I get it. Like this, this boundary is important, but I don't know where to start. And we get you, and that's why we want to let you know that next Tuesday on there it is. Next Tuesday, we are doing a webinar about creating positive boundaries that will transform your life. It's going to be at 12:30, not a.m. It should be p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 2:30 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be on April's YouTube. So that link is in the description. We'd love to see you there. And this is all part of the many things that go on with the Accountability Success Circle. And so, April, you want to give them a quick primer on the ASC?
For sure. I think it's so funny every time I have to repeat this. It's like I don't want to just say the same thing over and over again because people might just hear it differently. But, first and foremost, the Accountability Success Circle is a community that Gary and I have, founded and put together and are growing, and also with our fellow leadership team member Rebecca, we are trying to cultivate this community that of people who are positive, who are driven and want to create the lives on their own terms, and just want to have that support along the way. Just earlier today I was looking at all the encouragement that all the members have been giving each other. It's just so great to see. And so it's a positive community, especially with some of the stuff that's going on out there. It's just a nice safe haven to be a part of. Second is that we are, trying to transform one day at a time. I think a lot of times we tend to go to, become a part of a community and try to get in there and inspired and take a lot of action. But then, sometimes it's such a small little bit of time that, you are inspired and you're kind of hustling. And we like to take a little bit of a softer approach and try to take these tiny little baby steps to do the transformation over a longer extended period of time, because it's a lot less overwhelming that way. You can take it into bite-sized chunks, and it's just so much better to digest, especially if you're somebody who is a high achieving, got a lot of things going on type of person. So if you're interested in the community, check us out. We're going to be really, really pushing for the next month this amazing annual planning retreat, which is the basis of how we go about our year. So continue to check in if you're interested in that. Check us out, accountabilitysuccesscircle.com, and we'll give you more details about some of the other fun stuff that we've got coming up up here in the next week soon. So All right, so that was a little bit of a 20-minute quickie, but sometimes it's okay to go a little long, right?
Right? That's what she said.
That's what she said. So long and slow for today. But thank you so much for checking us out, and I hope to see you in the community if you're interested. And if not, hope you took away some really awesome thoughts and reflections from this week's tip. And we'll be back here next week with some really awesome new content. So.
Yay. So we'll dance it out.
Yeah.